Hi guys, for today's tutorial, we're gonna achieve the wet look with the Yegi Beauty Cashmere Wispy lash extensions. So these lash trays are actually best used for the wet look. And the reason for that is if you look closely, within each row of eyelashes, there's short, medium, and long lengths mixed in there, and it gives it a wispy look. So not every single eyelash is the same length, and this helps you get a really nice looking tapered out wet look. Now, for the wet look, remember, we are purposefully not fanning out the fans to create this look. So we're using volume lashes that are thin, but we're not fanning them out to have a fan. We're keeping them closed. And since these Cashmere Yegi Wispy eyelashes are at different lengths, when we do keep them close, it tapers out and gives like a nice pointy end to achieve that wet look. Now, I wouldn't recommend these lashes to use to do volume fans because they are not that easy to fan out, especially for those of you who use the pinching method. These are not the right lashes for that. Again, these are good for the wet look, and if you know how to fan them out on the lash strip, then you can use it like that too to create fans. But if you mostly do the pinching method, these won't work very well for you. So use these mainly for the wet look. Now, these eyelashes come in mixed lengths in each tray, and if you see that on the eyelash box it says 8, 10, and 12, that means that each row has mixed lengths of these lengths. They're not a mixed tray like usual where one row is 8, the second row is 10, the third row is 12. These lengths are actually mixed in within each row, so every single row is the same length. So the ones that are labeled 8, 10, and 12, we use that as our short length, okay? Because these are the lashes that are on the shorter side. And then after that, these lashes also come in the longer length, which is 10, 12, and 14. And these are the lengths that are mixed within each other. But again, all of the rows are the same. So we're going to use one tray, which is the 8, 10, 12 for our short lengths. And then we're going to use the 10, 12, 14 tray for our long length. So that's how we want to use these. Here's our beautiful model, and these are her eyelashes before eyelash extensions. So we are going to start off with cleansing her eyelashes with the Lash Wash. Now, even if your client has zero makeup on the eyes, we still want to cleanse it to make sure. Although the eyelashes may seem clean to the naked eye, but in reality, there can be some natural body oils or a little bit of residue. So make sure you're still cleansing yourself or sending your client to the bathroom to fully wash their eyelashes with the Lash Wash right before the application. Because even if they've just rubbed their eyes with their bare hands, just this oil from our natural body can still get in the way of the eyelash extensions process. Since she had foundation on her skin, even though nothing on her eyelashes themselves, but she did have foundation around her eyes, I noticed that when we were cleansing the eyelashes, some of the foundation was actually kind of moving and touching the eyelashes. And this was really a struggle to really get the lashes clean. So if you can, highly encourage your clients to come with zero foundation, and if they have to put foundation, at least avoid putting them around the eyes, like leave the eyelids and under the eye foundation. Now in the video, we are using a peri bottle and a paper towel to cleanse off the eyelashes. And I'll link everything below so you can have access to all that information if that's what you would like. So for now, let's pay attention and really learn how to apply the eyelash extensions. Next, we're going to use the under eye patches to hold down the bottom eyelashes. And the purpose of this is to make sure that we don't glue any of the bottom eyelashes while we're applying the extensions on the top eyelashes. But these are also hydrating gel under eye patches, which also protects the skin and moisturizes it. When we're applying the under eye patch, we want to make sure that we don't apply it so high where it's touching the waterline or goes inside the eye, because that's when we can really damage the eye, cause discomfort and irritation to the eye. We want to make sure we apply it a little bit below the waterline, even if some of the natural eyelashes are showing, that's okay. We want to make sure we hold them down, but the rest we're going to complete with tape. Because the under eye patch, because of its gel material too, if it goes in the eye, it also will absorb the moisture from the eye and almost like poof up and make it even more uncomfortable. So make sure you're applying it lower, and throughout your application process, you're checking on it maybe about every 20 minutes to make sure it hasn't snuck up, because sometimes it can sneak up and kind of wiggle up the eye while you're working. Next, we're gonna apply tape in an X formation. So the purpose of the tape is to really make sure all of the bottom eyelashes are held down. Like I said, under eye patch, we don't want to go too high, so we're accomplishing this by using tape. And this is the sensitive tape that we're using in this video, and it is actually lint-free, and it comes off the skin and hair more easily compared to any other tape. So this is a good tape to use if you're only using one tape. Now, after you have taped, you can adjust the inner and outer corners a little bit by moving it down in order to make sure that it's not hitting or pushing up on her eye. So it is okay to make those adjustments after. Just be very careful and do very small moves. The next step is to prime the natural eyelashes. And the purpose of the primer is to make sure that we set the natural eyelashes, get rid of any other oils or residue or anything like that before we can apply the extensions. And this is going to help the glue bond better to the natural eyelashes. I recently started liking the lip wands to apply the primer versus the micro brushes, because you do get a little bit more surface in order to really like get in there and make sure that every single part of the eyelash is fully primed, and it also almost cleanses it better too. So if anytime I see that there's a little bit of makeup that comes off of my lip wands when I'm priming, I make sure I kind of repeat that process 2 to 3 times until the wands come out clean. Next, we're going to use a little bit of tape to lift up the natural eyelashes as you see in the video. We don't want to lift it up too much to make sure that the eye is not open, because if the eye is open even slightly, then the fumes of the glue is going to go ahead and irritate or cause discomfort to the client. So make sure when you're lifting, you're doing it very, very, very little. Now we are doing a doll eye shape on this model, and we're going to use the shorter lengths in the inner and outer corner and the longer length in the center. And remember, for the Cashmere Wispy eyelashes, they pretty much only come in a short length for the tray and a long length for the tray. The short length was the 8, 10, and 12 that's mixed in there, and then the long length is the 10, 12, and 14 that's mixed in there. We pretty much divided the lashes into 3 equal parts, with the center again being the longer lengths and the inner and outer corners being the shorter length. Now, when we're applying these eyelashes, remember, we're purposefully not fanning them out because we want to get the wet look with it. And the reason for that, the reason why I love using these Cashmere Wispy eyelashes for the wet look is because they are mixed length in each row and they end up looking tapered. So it gets closer to the wet look compared to using eyelashes that are not. We're using about 5 to 7 of the eyelashes in a bunch when we're gluing it. So it's almost like doing a classic set, but with bunch of volume eyelashes. So remember, the volume eyelashes are the thinner eyelashes. These ones are 0.05 in thickness, and we're using about 5 to 7 of them in order to create our spikes for the wet look. So make sure that, again, if you are using a bunch, you're using the thinner eyelashes, either 0.03 or 0.05, so then they're not too heavy for the client's natural eyelashes. We never want to put anything that's more than double the thickness of the weight of the client's natural eyelash in order to avoid any damage to them. And remember, when we're isolating with our non-dominant hand, for me, it's my left hand, when we're opening up the eyelashes of where we're going to glue the extension, we want to make sure that we're going to get only one natural eyelash between those tweezers. This is also super, super, super important, because if we were to glue any eyelashes together, any of the natural eyelashes together, then that's when they can pull on each other, cause discomfort, or even irritation and infection for the client's eye. Again, eyelash extensions can be super safe and super problem-free if done properly. So that's also why it's very important to get your lashes done by a professional, or for you guys, if you're applying them, you really get trained and know what you're doing. So that's why in the YouTube videos, I really try to emphasize those things that can make a huge difference into the quality and the health of your client's natural lashes. So this client actually has a lot of natural eyelashes, which is a good thing actually for a lash artist. And we want to take advantage of that and apply on almost every single one of her natural eyelashes to get a really nice full look that would last her a long time. Now, one benefit of people getting eyelash extensions is how long it lasts them, and how ready to go they are out the door in the mornings. So if somebody's paying about $200 for a full set, they want to make sure it's going to last them at least 2 to 3 weeks or even a month before they need to get it filled or touched up. And the way you're going to achieve that as a lash artist is by applying on every single one of the natural eyelashes. And this is going to help them last longer, since we do shed about 2 to 5 natural eyelashes a day. Even with the shedding, the client will still have some extensions left after the 2 to 3 weeks if you are applying a good amount to start off with. Now let's pause the video right here. So this is where you can really clearly see what your isolation should look like. And remember, the wider you open your isolation tweezers and the better you can see that one natural eyelash, the easier it is going to be for you to apply the extension on top of it. So we also know for eyelash extensions, a key item that makes you or breaks you is your adhesive. So you want to make sure you have a good adhesive that's going to work well in your settings. So for our adhesive, we're using the Yegi Mega Hold glue, and it is a 1/2 second to 1 second glue. So this glue is actually really good in higher humidity. So we want the humidity to be about 45 to 65 degrees in our room to make sure the glue is working properly and drying fast. Okay, so another thing we want to do is to make sure our room temperature is not too hot or too cold, and the average room temperature for this glue to work well also is about 72 degrees. So these are things that we want to make sure that's working with our glue, is our room's conditions, in order to not get in the way of our retention and how the set is going to last after we're done. One other thing I want to point out, so at this point, if you're really looking at the eye, you can see it's starting to look full. So it may start to look good to you already, especially when you're a new lash artist. Make sure you're not stopping when you think it already looks good, because even if it looks good, and if you were to really look in there, you're going to be able to find more empty natural eyelashes that you can apply more on. And remember, the more you apply, the nicer it's going to look in the beginning, but also in the long run, it's going to last you longer, and you're going to have happier clients that are going to come back and want to see you and pay you more in order to get another set. If you don't put enough again to start off with, they're not going to last that long, and then your client might not say anything, but they won't come back. So we want to make sure as new lash artists we're avoiding that, because it's a very common mistake people make. So let's pause right here. I actually want you guys to take a look at this so you can learn from it. For this one bundle, the one we placed looks a little bit too thick and a little bit out of order. So we want to make sure the base of the extensions that are bundled together are nicely in line and closed off, especially the base, not the tips. If the tips open up a little bit, that's okay. But the base should all be together, and it shouldn't be too thick for the natural eyelash. Remember the rule of thumb, we don't want it more than about double the thickness of the natural eyelash, and this one looks like it's a little bit too thick. So if we were to catch this when we're applying it, we want to make sure we remove it. So what I do is after I'm done with the whole set, because sometimes we can miss like one or two that is not as nice as we would like them to be while we're applying quickly, we want to go back and check our work and remove anything that looks off like this. Now that we're done, we're gonna go ahead and apply the super bonder with the micro brush to the base of the natural eyelashes and the extension. So where the extension is glued onto the natural lash, that's where we wanna apply the super bonder. And the super bonder is really gonna lock in and fully finish curing the glue so your client can go out and live their lives after you're done with the set. They don't have to wait a day or 2 hours even now. They can immediately, by using the super bonder, go on with their lives. We just have 3 minutes dry time after we have applied the super bonder. And then now that it's done, we're gonna check. We're gonna make sure that nothing is stuck, and we're gonna remove the under eye patch and taping, and we're all done.